Hello, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Believe in Iowa State podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
I'm your host, Cody Vanciolo.
Cody, I just got back about an hour ago from Cincinnati. I was at the game yesterday. Unfortunately, Cyclones came up short 38-30, but you know what? We usually start off with how we're feeling. First, we're going to look at Cyclones in the NFL because today, Cody, there were a lot of touchdowns scored by some Cyclones today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, this was actually a pretty productive day in the NFL for our Cyclones. So, actually, bad thing, Tyler. Fortunately, it might have technical difficulties. I don't know if you have the clips on your end, but
Oh, sure, I can go grab them.
yeah, I don't know what happened. My one of my screens kind of glitched out, and it had like the browser. So, yeah.
Uh-oh. All right, hold on. Let me go to the Iowa State football page because I'm sure they have it there.
Oh yeah. And I mean, while we're talking about that, I mean, there's a couple of like big things to note. Jalen Noel and Xavier Hutchinson got their first career NFL touchdowns, and I mean, it was overall a really good day for the Houston Texans because they took it right to the Baltimore Ravens.
They sure did. And it was it was 34-10 Texans. So they had a huge win after, and now that's two wins in a row for them now. I
Mm-hmm.
believe after winning last week against the Titans, and now
Yeah,
they rebound.
yeah, an 0-3 start for them, but looks like maybe CJ Stroud has righted the ship. Looks like the Texans might have righted the ship.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna share this. We're gonna look at this. It's beautiful. All right, here we go.
Noel is in for the touchdown. Marks in the backfield, shotgun, fake the pitch, soft toss, it's handled. Noel is in for the touchdown. Marks in the backfield, shotgun.
Yeah, thanks for blocking the touchdown dance, Nico Collins. But
Oh
he,
no.
yeah. If y'all couldn't see it, or obviously, I'm pretty sure a lot of Cyclone fans were watching. He hit that iconic Ray Lewis touchdown dance that he did. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah, so I mean the clip is around. Yeah, he hits the Ray Lewis, and right after that, him and Jair Alexander got into a bit of a tussle, and oh man, the Cyclones, like the Cyclone fans had a field day watching that happen, and he just saw that was just how salty Baltimore was, and for Iowa State, obviously, what that was a great day to watch. Obviously, Jalen Noel get his first career touchdown, but speaking of that, we also had another former Cyclone get his like first couple of career touchdowns in Xavier Hutchinson.
yes, Xavier Hutchinson had a huge game today. But we got to talk about a guy who is known as another name, Chuck Bruce. We gotta talk about him
Ah,
because uh, if you guys don't know, David Montgomery is from Cincinnati, and he hails from Colerain High School. So we're gonna watch this clip right here as he throws a touchdown in his hometown.
Takes the snap. He'll throw. End zone touchdown. Brock Wright as Montgomery. Back. Takes the snap. He'll throw. End zone touchdown.
David, hell of an arm. Colerain High School product. Man, what a day! What a day! What a day!
yeah, that's David Montgomery, known as Chuck Bruce, local resident of not just Cincinnati but also of Ankeny, Iowa, and and another TD pass because I mean we have known that he did play quarterback in high school, so we know he has an arm, and this is his second career touchdown, and that's what more passing touchdowns now for him this year than any Iowa quarterback up to this point, or something like that. There's some socks thrown in Iowa, but I digress.
Yeah, I believe I saw on the ESPN ticker that Gronowski's out for like 3 to 6 weeks. So yeah,
That
I think they're going to be in trouble. They're in
yeah,
trouble right now.
yeah, that's not good for Iowa's chances to maybe get back into the race of the Big Ten, at least in the middle of the pack, because we'll get to like the bunch of them later. But I wanted to just like kind of shift over to Cycles NFL to the Cyclones right now. Obviously, yesterday it was a game that nobody expected, and the Cyclones have suffered their first loss of the year, losing 38-30 in what was a pretty bad first half. Much better second half, but the first half was just pretty sloppy for Iowa State, and that put them behind the 8 ball all game long. And just overall, pretty disappointing performance, probably the worst performance that we've seen since the Kansas game last year. So, I mean, there were a lot of things, there were a lot of frustration and disappointment within the fan base. But if you look at it, like if you look at it from probably a more optimistic perspective, which is kind of like the route I'm taking, there was improvement in the second half. There was improvement on that defense, but overall, it was just wasn't enough. The improvements came a little too late, and it couldn't overcome what was a horrible first half. And we unfortunately have even more injuries to worry about, as if the injuries that we suffered coming into the game weren't already impactful.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are the walking wounded right now. It's just like this team cannot catch breaks injury wise. I will say the one positive from yesterday's game is that Quentin Taylor was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I was worried about, and I was like, man, how is he gonna do? But he actually he was stellar. Stellar yesterday. Hopefully, I mean, on the offensive side, and I was at the game yesterday, sitting in the north end zone. So that if you saw a walking side flag in the north end zone, that was me, um, on TV. But yeah, I mean, Carson Hansen went out with an injury, and Brett Eskelson went out with an injury. So hopefully, we'll probably get a injury update probably later this week when the injury things come out, and especially we'll get more info during Tuesday's press conference. Uh, but yeah, I mean, what I guess obviously we're still going to focus on the positives. What were some things that you liked um, in the game?
Um, I think definitely Rocco still had it. Like we saw the grit and toughness that this team had, even being down 17-0 in the first quarter. They were able to they were able to get some drives going, but they just kind of got in their own way, which was an uncharacteristic thing. It was just uncharacteristic penalties because in the first defensive drive of the game, we had an offside penalty on a 3rd and 4, which gave Cincinnati a first down. Ultimately, Cincinnati went on to score a touchdown. So this was a really uncharacteristic game discipline wise. And I mean, I think a lot of it just comes down to execution and attention to detail. That's obviously something that Matt Campbell preaches about. And this game yesterday, it was just one of those days where everything was out of whack for them. So I think if hopefully this is one of those like just you had a bad day, this isn't going to turn into a pattern. And usually this doesn't turn into a pattern for this Iowa State squad. So I mean, if you were eventually going to take a loss, but I think you took a loss to a Cincinnati team who I think maybe a lot of us underestimated could do, but we did see what they do against Kansas. And if it turns out that Cincinnati is in fact a really good team, then you could say that you lost to a pretty good Cincinnati team. Um, I mean, with Rocco, he did everything he could. He had 300 plus total or passing yards, 4 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, and the toughness I just mentioned. He took a really big hit, which was ultimately ruled a targeting in the second quarter, and he was still able to come into the game. He definitely didn't look the same. He was able to connect in some of those passes, but you still saw some toughness out of Rocco Beck and wanting to go back in. So it's nice to see that your quarterback has that toughness, and that leadership is going to be huge for the morale of the squad. Obviously, losing Carson Hansen, and I mean, you also saw Chase Solel get banged up during the game, but he was able to come back in. So you see toughness and grit on this team. It's just, can you be able to do that while also cleaning up a lot of those penalties and a lot of those procedural like moments where you made some uncharacteristic mistakes?
Yeah, I mean this coaching staff and team talks about overcoming adversity all the time. This is the first time that they have experienced adversity. Honestly, I mean, this is like one of the games like all year where you were trailing the entire time, where like for up until this point, they only trailed for what, like 30 seconds this entire season. So like this is a place where they haven't been. Obviously, we've seen this team come back from adversity many times, especially last season with like 4 or 5 coming from behind victories. Obviously, I like you said, I'm taking the more optimistic look. Um, yeah, Cecil, he's a warrior. He got a nasty hit landing on his head. I was worried about him, but then he came back at that final drive and had an amazing sideline catch. So just seeing that with him, and then Brett Eskelson with that amazing catch in the end zone, beautiful, beautiful catch and throwing catch. And Rocco's a warrior. He even said, "Excuse my language," but he said he felt like shit. So like he like in that sense, you know, he's a warrior. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some of these guys back and hopefully get a win in the bye week. Another question I want you, Cody, like, what do you think that there are solutions for any of this? Like, I like obviously the injury thing. Now, there's no solutions. That's something that's not controllable. But like, I think maybe I think for me a possible solution. I think now, I think defensively is. Do you think that we should maybe just be in a 4-man front a lot more? Because I feel like maybe being in the 4-man front will give us a lot of pressure and another rusher. Because I feel like maybe Trey Verdon or somebody could have been off the middle that could have really really helped yesterday.
Yeah, I think. I mean, a lot of the criticisms on the defense came down to the front seven kind of being a weak point because the secondary, they were doing fine. It was the front seven. We were getting gashed all over the place. Linebackers and D linemen were not able to get really that much pressure. Sorsby was pretty comfortable. So one way you can remedy that is to have 4 down linemen more often. And if you're able to do that, you like obviously create a little more pressure, but you also don't run the risk of giving up those like small yardage plays, which Cincinnati was really taking advantage of. They just took those often, and it also just turned into a lot of yards, like a lot of like extra yardage, because I think the physicality. It's just you got to be the more physical team is the ultimate thing. You just got to be more physical because it was clear in that game that Cincinnati was the more physical team in the trenches. They were pushing our guys around, and their their running backs were able to break off a lot of tackles. I mean, we saw a couple of our guys get trucked throughout the game. So it's just the physicality aspect. You just got out physical. So you really just got to hone in on be able to being physical and also wrapping up tackles so you don't give up those extra yards.
Yeah, no, bro, I completely agree. Be the aggressor, not do not be the one that's being having all the aggression put out against you. Always be the aggressor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta
and then go ahead.
Yeah, gotta have the killer mentality. Like that's just what it
Yes,
is. Like you gotta be able to be in your mind, say like you're going to tackle this dude. You're like gonna want to pop him and potentially cause a turnover. And I mean, I think that'd be something else too. Is in a game like that where it's close, you need to be able to get turnovers, but also you need to be able to capitalize. And this is more on the opposite side of things. Being able to capitalize was a huge reason as to us losing the game. We were not able to capitalize on being in the red
man.
zone. It was just difficult. Like in, I knew Cincinnati really kept teams out of the end zone, which is something I knew. But yeah, it was like kind of frustrating to watch, just us not being able to punch it into the end zone, and that clearly came into play. And also the kicking situation was another thing that people were like questioned, like they were like concerned about and were criticizing the team for. And I mean, especially on that fourth and like, I think the big criticism was that 3rd down call before the 4th and 1 at the Cincinnati 15, where it's just run up the middle. The problem is you're dealing with probably the best defensive tackle in the Big 12 with the Godfather Dante Corleone. So
Right.
it doesn't really work out for you well when you run right into them. It's not going to work out for you. So I would have loved to see us go to the edge, spread out the field a little more, and even on that 4th and 1, where that quarterback sneak usually it works 100% of the time, but obviously you ran right into Dante Corleone. That doesn't work out. So I think maybe that would have been a perfect scenario where you potentially fake the QB sneak or fake QB draw, and you could potentially get a guy like a tight end wide open on a pop pass. I don't think we saw that at all in this game, which I was surprised about because that's been one of our favorite plays to go to is the tight end pop pass. So I was surprised.
Yeah.
And that's an overall thing. We didn't really see the tight ends get used that much.
No, at that point, like when you're down 31-7, you're not gonna be you're sort of like not limited in what you can. Yeah, you are limited in what you can call because you're trying to get as many possessions as possible. I will say though, I do think that Rocco got the one where he said that we got stopped short. He definitely got that first down, but yeah, but like you said, not running into him, or maybe that play call where we maybe could have pitched it out to Carson Hansen to where it's a fake QB sneak, and then we do that little option pitch out to the outside. There's maybe different solutions. Yeah, like you said, pop pass, but hey, it's a new week, and I truly do think that this team will learn from this.
Yeah. And I think I guess if you because this is the same scenario we kind of ran into last year where we had lost to Texas Tech at home and then we get embarrassed in Arrowhead Stadium by Kansas. So this is kind of the same line, you're lining up kind of close. So, and a lot, this is going to be a deep reflection on the team. And I think it's a bit better experience to learn from a loss. Obviously, you can learn things from a win, but in a loss, you learn more about yourself and you learn more about what you built as a team. So hopefully this is a big experience, and obviously improvements are made, adjustments are made, and we can still keep ourselves in the race for the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm sure Campbell's like, hey, look, he is like, look, we're at a crossroads right now. We can either fold and fall or continue to be strong, pick yourself back up, win, win next week, and then get your rest in, but finish strong. Because I know this coaching staff for sure is like, hey, everything is still in front of you. We just got to go out and do it. So I have not lost hope on this season. Clones fans, please do not lose hope on this season or crash out to say the season's over, because it's not. It's one loss, and we
We've been
only
in this.
thing we can. Yes, we've been in this
We've,
situation before.
we've been in this exact situation last year, and how did it turn out? We won 3 straight. We went to the Big 12 title game and got ourselves a nice bowl win over Miami. But yeah, new season obviously still lots. But yeah, this the next couple of games for Iowa State are going to be huge because you do have to travel to Colorado. That's going to be a 2:30 kickoff. I do like your chances there. Have the bye week, and then you got 2 massive home games against a ranked BYU squad and a ranked Arizona State squad. So if you're Iowa State, if you can get the Colorado win, you'll be 6-1 in the bye heading to the bye week, and then you got 2 massive games ahead of you at home. So you get this win against Colorado, you can really prep yourself for BYU Arizona State. That's going to be huge. You're going to be back in your home crowd because it's going to be the first time in a month that you'll be playing in front of fans at Jack Trice Stadium.
Yep, just get through the week, get this dub, and then get to the bye week, regroup, and then be back out there for homecoming. All right, Cody. Good talk. Good talk. We are going to go now and look at what happened in the Big 12 on Saturday. It was a pretty interesting look conference wise. We're going to take a look. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to take a look at that.
Yep. Yeah. So the Big 12. This was quite a week, I'd say. This was quite a decent week for the Big 12.
Oh yeah. So, where do you want to start? I feel like we gotta talk about probably the game of the day yesterday in the Big 12. Like Baylor I mean, this was an insane game, but I mean, Baylor and K-State, bro. I mean, Baylor kicked a game-winning field goal to stay in the conference race as they beat Kansas State 35-34. What a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and the thing was, Kansas State, they held a 14-point lead with about just a little under 11 minutes to go. I'm looking at ESPN's win probability. They had a 98% chance to win this game. But Baylor able to
Unreal.
score 18 points in the fourth quarter within the last, yeah, they scored 18 points in the fourth quarter, including the game-winning field goal, and they were able to snatch victory out of defeat and be 2-1 and stay alive in the race for the Big 12 title. In Kansas State, they are now 2-4, 1-2 in the Big 12. And where do you go if you're Kansas State? Now you're basically out of the race.
Yeah, I mean, you're out of the race, and I guess now the only thing that you can look forward to is just maybe ruining somebody else's season, I guess. Because what's their next game? The next game was what? The Sunflower Showdown, right?
Oh, for Kansas. Oh no, it's TCU. They get to host TCU on the
Oh.
11th.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they're gonna be that chaos team that ruined somebody's season. They're
they're going to be
basically
the Kansas of last year.
they're gonna be the KU of last year. Sorry, K State. Sorry,
Yep.
guys. But yeah,
Yeah.
dude. This is a wild game. And the thing is, Avery Johnson had a great game. They are finally using him in the correct way. Like
Mm-hmm.
he had 10 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown, and they went 25 of 49, or 29 of 45 for 339. So
Yeah.
like he had a great game yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looked like things are going finally somewhat well for Kansas State. They just ran into Sawyer Robertson, who put up basically the same amount of the same numbers as Avery Johnson passing. Bryson Washington with 9 carries, 65 yards. But then you look at Trigg, the tight end for Baylor, 8 receptions for 155 yards, and obviously the game winner, a 53-yard field goal.
Yeah, by Connor
Yeah,
Hawkins.
yeah. And it looked like after defensive back Jacob Redding got a what was it, a pick six, it looked like.
Yep, 66 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So really gutsy win at home. You restore the faith in the Baylor fans, and Dave Aranda is hanging on. His job is staying alive, because I feel like this happens every week. It's one week Dave Aranda's on the hot seat, might get fired. The next week he's right back to keeping his job safe and getting this team back to Arlington. So it's really just a flip flop for Baylor right now.
Baylor is truly living the song "Living on a Prayer." They're halfway there through the season, and they're literally living on a prayer. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is exactly what is going on in Waco right now.
Mm-hmm.
Big win for them. Texas Tech goes into Houston and dominates the Cougs 35-11. What a
Yeah.
game.
Utter domination from who many are calling the clear number one team in the Big 12 in Texas Tech. And I have no argument for it. Texas Tech is without a doubt the number one team in the Big 12 and are the front runners to win the Big 12 and go to the college football playoff as a Big 12 representative. I mean, Bear Moore in 345 yards, a passing touchdown. Williams with 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they held wait, let me see what they held Connor Wegman to, because I think, yeah, they held Connor Wegman in check. Connor Wegman,
Oh, it
yeah.
was actually I think he might have gotten might have gotten hurt
Yeah.
because Zion Chris ended up being the leading passer.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, up to that point, I guess, before the injury, perhaps, Connor Wegman was only 5 of 12, 71 yards, and with an interception. So they held Connor Wegman in check, and then he goes out and then put Zion Chris. Zion Chris goes 5 of 13 with 93 yards, a passing touchdown, and an interception. So they held Houston in check in the passing game. Houston did get 100 yards on the ground, but ultimately it didn't mean as much because the turnovers were a huge portion of this game. Because I think we saw like this game. I think the first quarter there was fumbles galore.
Yep.
And yeah, just from the jump, Texas Tech gets out to they get up to that early lead. They get up big, just absolutely dominate and show without a doubt that they are the team to beat in the Big 12. And I think this Texas Tech team, they could be competitive in the college football playoff. They can compete with some of these Big 10 SEC schools because the thing that these SEC schools have is they're able to recruit a lot of like talented players, and you have to bag to get them. Texas Tech has that. And I think for national media, they got to put respect on Texas Tech because Texas Tech is doing what these SEC and Big Ten schools are doing. They're getting a lot of money. They're paying these players to come to their program. So, and I would say that they can be competitive in a neutral site field against an SEC or a Big Ten squad.
You're absolutely right, Cody. In this era of college football, like if you can go band for band with the top two conferences, yeah, I mean you will compete. Unfortunately, a lot of people won't like that, but that's what this era of college football is. All right, we are going to take a look at some of the other games and then
Yeah.
go in and all right.
Yeah. I
So we
mean,
talked about Houston.
yeah. I mean, from one band of coos to another, let's go to Friday night out in Provo.
Yeah. Oh,
BYU.
BYU.
Here we go.
Wow.
I mean, just they took it right to West Virginia. Bear Bachmeyer with a really good day, 18 to 25, 351 yards and a passing touchdown. The LJ Martin with 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this was just BYU asserting themselves back in, like they were asserting themselves as a contender in the Big 12, and they're off to what so far is a similar start to what they were last year until the wheels kind of fell off. But we're starting to see legitimacy with Bear Bachmeyer being able to lead a team, and they're doing the thing, and really interested to see how BYU will fare down the stretch. We mentioned they'll be traveling to Iowa State at the end of October, but before that, they get two important games. They go to Tucson to take on a rejuvenated Arizona squad, and then they got the Holy War against the Utes.
That's going to be an interesting stretch. I mean, although they outgained them, they did commit 3 turnovers. Luckily, they played West Virginia, a down on their luck team, but this type of play is not going to work when you play a top team like Iowa State or maybe even Arizona. Arizona having getting a huge win. I mean, they got a huge win over uh, a lowly Oklahoma State team as we go to that game. But like that is what good teams do. When you have to pounce on these low teams, and Arizona was able to rebound.
Yeah, just utter domination from the Wildcats of Arizona. No Fida is the quarterback that we thought he'd be. 376 passing yards, 5 touchdowns on the day. So really productive day for Noah Fida. And yeah, Arizona, after the loss to Iowa State, they rebound. They got themselves a really good win. And then, yeah, they're hosting BYU on Saturday at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. So really curious to see how that matchup is going to go.
That game was at 7 p.m. So we're gonna have Big 12 after dark. That's gonna be a huge game.
Yep.
What happened?
Oh, that's going to be something to look out for after our game against Colorado. And well, speaking of Colorado, they went band for band in the first half against TCU, but ultimately TCU was able to pull away. They won 35-21, and I think this shows that Colorado they can play. They can play with some of these upper tier teams in the Big 12, but ultimately TCU was just more talented team. They had the more talented quarterback, and Josh Hoover, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Meanwhile, Caden Salter with 2 touchdowns and 3 picks.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's the second consecutive game that Colorado stormed out to a 14-0 lead. It's just that they keep committing horrible turnovers at like the most inopportune times, and TCU was able to capitalize. Josh Hoover, great day. 4 TDs, 275 yards. Eric McAllister with another 2 touchdowns. So TCU rolls.
Yeah. And I mean, looking ahead a little bit to Colorado, Iowa State, I mean, would you rather be Colorado or Iowa State in this scenario? Because for Colorado, they go on the road, they were up early, but then they were not able to maintain the lead. And for Iowa State, you got thoroughly dominated, but you still showed some great toughness, showed some fight. Who would you rather be in this scenario heading into this game coming up coming up this Saturday?
For me, I think Colorado probably has a more of a positive psyche right now because you look at Colorado because Dion's going to be telling them like, hey, look guys, if we play a disciplined type of football, we this 2-4 could easily be 4-2. So I think you use that as a teaching moment and really hone in on the discipline. Um, and and obviously with Iowa State, yes, like we could say that we could use the injury excuse, but unfortunately, nobody's gonna feel sorry for us because every team goes through injury. So, like obviously, Iowa State and the team and the coaches know that they didn't play well, so we don't need they don't need us to tell us, and then they know that they're they're a strong minded self aware individuals. So I mean, I think like I said, I think for you, what do you think? Because I feel like I'd rather be Colorado in this position.
I think that's fair. For Colorado, this is likely going to be a last stand, if you will, for this season because you're hosting a team that looks a bit vulnerable, having come off a loss, and you would love nothing more than to absolutely boost your morale by getting a big win over a ranked squad.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but yeah, if we somehow find a way to lose this game at 1-2 and you go 5-2, that is not a good spot to be in the bye week because that you'll be just stewing on that for about 2 weeks. So Iowa State just needs to reset. Go in there and get a win. That's what we gotta do.
Mhm.
Go in there, reset, get a win.
Mhm.
And then lastly, Kansas goes on the road to the bounce house and beats UCF.
Yeah.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, that's gone out or
Oh yeah.
something.
Oh
Okay.
okay. But yeah, I mean, they were they came from a 14-0 deficit, but KU fought back and was able to score 13 points in the fourth quarter to win, or no, 13 points in the third quarter, and they were able to hold on to get the win. But
Mhm.
yeah, but with that, we are now done with the conference. But Cody, man, it was a hell of a day in the world of college football. Like this is probably one of the wildest weeks I can remember.
Oh yeah. So I mean, obviously, a lot of us at Ohio State, we were down, seeing us perform, um, being ranked and getting and taking a loss to Cincinnati the way we did. Yeah, we were kind of down, but I guess that there's a blessing in disguise. We were not the only team that was ranked to go down this past weekend.
Guys, we're gonna start off with this one. My Florida Gators, baby. They
Yeah.
yeah, buddy. They buck up and they like, hey bro, nah bro, we ain't losing. So Uh, Billy Napier survives another week as Texas goes down in Gainesville in the swamp as my Florida Gators beat the Texas Longhorns 29-21. Let's
Yep.
go, baby.
Yep. Billy Napier has certainly saved his job for another week down in Gainesville. But I mean, Florida, they came out swinging, and just Texas was just not able to respond. Arch Manning, his stock is not looking great.
No, it's not. He got hyped up basically for no reason. Yeah, Texas is now 3-2, 0-1 in the SEC, and now what looming for them is Oklahoma next week in Dallas. So we'll see how Texas' season goes from here.
Yeah, and for Florida, I mean, this was the start. Like, obviously, you had the two losses at LSU and at Miami, but now you get the win against Texas. You're feeling a little bit better about yourself as you will be heading to College Station to take on number 5 Texas A&M. That'll be a primetime game, 6 o'clock ESPN. And if you're Florida, you got to find a way to build off of this major win over Texas, and you got to find a way to keep it close with Texas A&M. And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, you might be able to pull off the upset. But if you're Florida, you're feeling good about yourself. You're feeling like you can build off of this, and now you have a signature upset win over a team that was like you were supposed to like just get killed by Texas. But you pull out the win, and now you're Billy Napier. You got to find a way to use this as momentum to keep the winning going.
Yeah, I mean, this is the exact same situation that they were in last year, where everybody thought everybody was just leaving them for dead, and then they ended up reeling out 4 in a row to make a bowl game, and ended up turning that season around. So they could do the exact same thing here. And one way is, hey, Dallas getting Dallas Wilson involved. He had 6 receptions for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. So hey, maybe this Lagway to Wilson connection is what the Florida Gators need to turn their season around.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think if you're Florida, you feel a little bit better about yourself. But I know some Florida fans are going to be like, "Oh no." I think some of them are worried that means they're going to keep Billy Napier for another year. But I don't know if you're like, how are you like? How did you feel when you did see Florida beat Texas?
I was elated because me and my friend went out to a bar after the game to drink our sorrows away. And yeah, we went to go and watch Florida, Texas, and I was like, yes, Florida won. I was like, but daggone it, I'm like, that means we're gonna keep Napier for another week. Daggone it, no. Well, it's sort of bittersweet because obviously, like there's some part of me that that wants Florida to do well, except for when they play Iowa State. But like yeah, it's a rough. I'm in a rough place, Cody.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, we are gonna look at this game. This game, man. I was keeping tabs on this one, but
Mm-hmm.
man, Louisville takes the Virginia Cavaliers to overtime, but Virginia prevails, and Virginia proves themselves to be legit as they move to 3-0 in the ACC with a 30-27 win over Louisville in Louisville.
Yeah. Virginia coming off of that major upset over Florida State. They were looking to continue it. And I mean, yeah, they got tested by what is a pretty good Louisville squad with Miller Moss at quarterback. Miller Moss, the former USC Trojan. He comes in and does what he can, 329 yards and 2 touchdowns. But what Virginia was able to keep the game, push it overtime, and able to ultimately get the win. Well, actually, Louisville pushed it to overtime, but Virginia
Yeah,
able to find a clutch bone to win that game and remain undefeated in ACC play. And I think they've taken Clemson's spot as a top of the ACC, because I don't know anybody have Virginia going on this start that they've had this year so far.
with yes, and with that, let's take a look at Virginia's schedule now that we know that. Wow, yeah, and they lead the ACC right now. So let's really take a look at the schedule now, because now we know that they're legit. They have Washington State at home, at North Carolina, at Cal, Wake Forest, at Duke, and then they have the Commonwealth Cup against Virginia Tech to end the year. Honestly, you look at the standings right now, dude. You have Virginia, Duke, Georgia Tech, and Miami as the
Mm,
top four teams in the ACC. I
Uh,
mean, and if you had this on your bingo card, congratulations, because I sure didn't.
yeah, you needed to. You should have gotten a lottery ticket for that because like with Miami and Georgia Tech, you could see a case for them, but you didn't certainly could not possibly see Duke and Virginia also joining them.
I didn't see this. So yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, Virginia Duke could be for a spot in the ACC title game against Miami.
Imagine
I
telling somebody that Virginia Duke was going to be a marquee matchup, but it wasn't basketball. Imagine
I
telling them
know,
that.
right? That's insane.
How did we turn into like these basketball schools turning into decent football schools? What is going on?
That's the beauty of NIL, baby.
Yep,
The beauty of NIL.
the level playing field. Yeah, and well, we talked about the standings in the ACC. Florida State, they are now 0-2 in the ACC after losing to number 3 Miami 28-2. Miami just for 3 quarters they just dominated. And Florida State, they did put up 19 points in the fourth, but it was just a little bit too late for Florida State because Carson Beck went into Tallahassee and completely dominated the Seminoles. I mean, talk about 3 turnovers committed by Florida State, and just those 3 turnovers kind of they killed Florida State's chances. That was the big thing. Because looking at Florida State outgained Miami. They got more first downs. They were penalized less, and the possession time was even. But yeah, those turnovers killed Florida State, and Miami was able
Yeah,
to take advantage. Did
yeah.
you see
Miami was able to take
Malachi
advantage.
Tony? Did you see who was it? The Miami player. It was the camera was right on him, and he imitates the Florida State war chant right into the camera. I saw that. I'm like, yes, I love it.
Is this it right here?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what I was going for back then. The shirt looks to be Scotch plaid. It's like
Hold on.
Yeah,
I think this is the one.
yeah.
Fake it to Brown. Slant, touchdown. C.J. Daniels. Caught the deep shot to set it up and finishes the job. Brown.
There it is. Yeah. I love rivalries. When you just play rivalry games, you get to pull off the pettiness that you can. It's beautiful.
And I love it because like Miami, like the best thing, dude, is that for the longest time, Miami and Florida didn't play each other for like, and like last year, it was the first time in a decade that, or in 11 years that they played each other. That used to be a game that used to be played every year. So I believe that that's going to be a game that's going to be played every year going forward because the big three schools should play each other every single year. Like
Oh yeah.
obviously, Florida State is a game that's played every year, like either in Tallahassee or Gainesville. But
Yep.
Florida Miami and Florida State Miami, yeah, I love those games when the big three play each other. It's a whole triangle. But we got to talk about another shock, dude. Dude, what the hell?
What?
UCLA. UCLA in Westwood beats Penn State 42-37. Penn State, what?
I tweeted this, and let's just say that Penn State's had a bad 24 hours. First, Their
Oh, boy.
volleyball squad gets killed by Nebraska. They get swept, including losing the first set 25-6 to Nebraska.
Oh, boy.
And then their football team goes out and lays an egg in the Rose Bowl against UCLA. And they've given UCLA their first win of the season.
Ooh, they are down bad. They are down bad, bro. I mean, ugh.
Okay. I know people were talking about this. Is there a path for Penn State to still make the college football playoff? Because I know people are still saying there is a way for them. But do you think there is?
How? No, there's no way. They're
I,
like,
I'll tell you the rest of their schedule. So this is the rest of their schedule.
okay,
They
we're
are
gonna take a look at it right now. Yeah.
yeah. Because there's one game I have circled. There's one game I have circled that is going to be huge for them to even have a shot.
All right, what is it?
It's number one Ohio State in Columbus at the Shoe.
Okay, now I will say, although it was impressive to what Ohio State did of the dismantling of Minnesota, Ohio State, I just like they looked a little bit like yes, they won 24-6 over Washington, but that offense did not look impressive to me. And I mean, we're really gonna see how Ohio State is next week on Big Noon when they're at Illinois next week. That's gonna be a really really good game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, do you think that this is a way that this could galvanize Penn State? Do you think that the wheels can start falling off? Because I mean, if you look bad against Northwestern, you're going to be going into a hornet's nest, which is Iowa City the next week.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, the Hawks are going to be looking for a win over Penn State. So
Yeah.
you got to get through these. Penn State has to get through this next two games before they face Ohio State, and then after that, you got to play an Indiana team at home that's
And
ranked in the top 10.
Indiana are world they are world I mean, they went into Kinnick Stadium and they gutted out a win over Iowa, and Iowa they tend to be a difficult team to play against in Kinnick. No matter who you bring in, they're always going to be difficult to play against in Kinnick Stadium. So, I mean, a lot of us I think a lot of us said for the Iowa game that we thought Indiana was going to go in and perhaps kill Iowa. No, turns out Iowa was able to really stay Iowa and have an elite defense. Just was not able to have a good enough offense, but that elite defense really kept them in the game. So it's no joke that the Iowa defense is without a doubt still a team to be respected. So yeah, you're Penn State. You need to just fix it now to even have a chance to do it. But I think with the way the Big Ten is and who's ahead, I think Penn State's their playoff chances are slim to none. And if you're James Franklin, you need to your seat may be getting warm a little bit, because I think a lot of Penn State people might be starting to feel a little frustrated not being able to win the big game against Oregon, and then to drop an egg like that against UCLA, a winless squad at that. No, I think that's going to put a lot more frustration on James Franklin. I don't know. His seat may be getting a little bit warm.
Yeah, it's getting very, very warm, man. And we're gonna take a look at this last game. Alabama rebounds and avoids getting beat by Vanderbilt again as Alabama wins this game 30-14.
Yeah. So Alabama, off of the big win at Georgia, is able to handle Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt was gunning for a repeat of last season, but Alabama used a shutout in the second half to pull away from the Commodores and win 30-14. Alabama is undefeated SEC play, and they are right there. And I think this Alabama squad is not exactly like the world beaters that they were under Nick Saban, but they are still a team to be respected in the SEC.
Yeah, let's look at their schedule. They have at Missouri next week, 11 a.m. So yeah, look at their next two games, man. At Mizzou and then Tennessee, the third Saturday in October.
Mm-hmm.
So it is gearing up for the Crimson Tide.
Yep. And then a couple more SEC games to look forward to heading down is you're at South Carolina. You host out number 11 LSU, and then you host number 6 Oklahoma.
So yeah, I mean they have a war path to a possible SEC championship appearance. So we'll see how Alabama fares as we close our uh, Big 12 segment and national slate.
Yep.
But for that, we are now near the end of our show. Cody, do you have any closing thoughts about this past week, or just any look forward to anything you're looking forward to for this upcoming week?
Just really got to look out for just like see how the team is like handling, how Iowa State's going to handle this loss and what they do in practice. That's going to be what, and then obviously keep updated like with the Carson Hansen injury update and just seeing who else like is going to be hurt throughout the week, because that's been the unfortunate thing is we've been seeing so many guys drop. So I'm not envious of who's going to drop next, but it's just really going to see how this team tackles what is their first, like what is the adversity they face right now. So how do they tackle it and how do they get themselves back into the win column? That's going to be what we see this whole week, and then just see what else goes on around the Big 12. Obviously, that race is going on, and there's a lot more horses in this now because now you have 4 undefeated: BYU, Texas Tech, Arizona State, Cincinnati, and then you still have Iowa State, Baylor, and Kansas right there, and even Arizona. So it's just this race for the Big 12 is going to be something to look out for the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean the good thing is that a lot of those teams at the top play each other, so a lot of these teams are gonna cancel each other out. Unfortunately, it looks like it's gonna be heading to like a 4-way or 5-way tie at the top again.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this race again, aren't we? We're gonna do this again.
Yes, we're gonna do it once again.
Yep. And the thing for Iowa State is they avoid Texas Tech. So that's the big thing. They avoid Texas Tech. So, I mean, and they get to host BYU and Arizona State. So that's huge.
Yeah, and the best thing is both these games are at home, and Iowa State is basically has been unbeatable at home in the past few years. So that bodes well for us. All right, we are going to conclude today's show. As always, a big thank you to our sponsor, FanDuel. If you know ball and make money, if you know ball and you want to make money, go on FanDuel. Tons of perks, tons of tokens to use. If you know ball, go and make money with FanDuel.
Hey, and I mean the MLB playoffs, like the postseason is going on. We just saw the Blue Jays go up 2-0 on the New York Yankees, and in dominant fashion, Game 2, winning 13-7. So, real domination. Who knows? Maybe you if you have the World Series, you might be able to predict who's going to be in the World Series.
Who knows? The series goes to New York. All right. Also, find us on social media at YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. All at Believe in ISU. On Twitch is at Believe in ISU 2025. Add us on all those. And lastly, find us on Twitter. For me, Tyler, it's at SciTi Guy. And for Cody, it is at Matt Campbell. So for Tyler Carter,
and for Cody Vinciolo,
this is the Believe in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
Go Cyclones.